Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another tantalising looking beer from Seven Brothers. As you may be aware, but you may not be, Seven Brothers were kind enough to send me out a huge box of beers a few weeks ago now to review, and this is one of them. That explains the tag up there that says it's sponsored content. They didn't actually pay me to do this, but they did send me the beer, which was very nice of them. I'm just saying this to be completely transparent with you about where these beers came from and the fact that I did not actually pay for them myself. And if you want to see the rest of the contents of that box they sent me, click up there to the unboxing video so you can see all of the tasty delights that came along with this. This beer has been living rent-free in my head for a while. Quite literally rent-free, because I didn't pay for it, as I just said, but I love watermelon. I've never had a watermelon beer. This is a watermelon wheat beer, and I really like wheat beer. So, I say the following words a lot. I'm excited about this, and it still reigns true. So, I don't want to read too much about it before I try it, so here is a quick look at the can, and we'll break straight into it. We'll call that one a semi-crummy pour. Not getting much aroma just sat here. It looks beautiful. Loads of carbonation shooting up from the bottom of the glass on that one. And it's got that kind of proper pale wheat beer flair with a nice thick head on it. So let's find out what the aromas are saying. Well, that's interesting. That's not immediately obvious. It's really subtle on the aroma, really subtle. I think you'd take away that it was a wheat beer from the aroma, although you might have to kind of dig around in the back of your brain if you've not had one recently, because it's not overly potent in any sense, but I'm really not getting a lot, but I think we've said this before about at least one of the Seven Brothers beers, and it turned out to be an absolute stunner. So, a lack of any real aroma, and just as I say that, I'm getting a bit of that watermelon rind, watermelon pip, the earthier notes of the watermelon coming through just a bit, just starting to break through. So it is definitely there, but in pretty conservative amounts. So let's get in. Cheers. Wow, what the... These guys, this is witchcraft. If these... speechless. What on earth? That actually tastes like watermelon. Like, not a bit, like... If you carbonated some watermelon juice and a bit of a biscuit, that is what that tastes like, which might not sound like the most appealing combination, but oh my days. I really want to not dislike a Seven Brothers beer, that's not the right word, but I want to be able to be a bit critical and not completely blown away by one, because I've said it in the last video, it feels a bit disingenuous given that I didn't pay for them, that I'm always raving about it, but days. That's another absolute stunner. Now, as always with these things, it's not going to be for everyone. And I think the reason that I'm so drawn towards them is that they're not very hop heavy, they've always got a good malt base, and they're a bit sweet. That's my wheelhouse when it comes to beer. Like that is the type that I like. What they do that a lot of others don't do is they put that concept into light beer. I normally have to go dark or kind of European lager for that kind of experience, and now I can get it in, I know this is a wheat beer, but in IPA form, in pale form from Seven Brothers, which for me personally just opens up a whole new kind of chapter of enjoying pale beer. So enough of my semi-rant about why I prefer their stuff to others. Let's get into the actual tasting notes of this beer. So, top to bottom taste test. Initially quite neutral on the front of the tongue, carbonation spiking away all over the place. Middle phase, also not a lot, quite refreshing. A few small watermelon flavours kind of hinting at the size, but it's not really obvious, nothing particular. The mouthfeel is not the thickest for a wheat beer, let's say. It's not thin for a beer, but it's kind of pilsnery, I guess. You can probably tell a bit if I do that about how it's really sitting in the glass. It's not the thickest, but it's not bad. And then just before the swallow, and as it washes away, an explosion of flavour. Super sweet, refreshing watermelon, like you're sat on a desert island somewhere and someone's mulched down watermelon into a delicious cocktail, but retained refreshing. There's no obvious alcohol note in there. And then there's a nice bit of a biscuity finish that's quite common in the beers I've had from Seven Brothers so far, that really rounds it out, keeps it just anchored in beer territory. I'm not gonna lie, this is quite sweet and quite fruity, not overly in any sense, but if it didn't have that malt base, I think people would start to say that's not really a beer. So I'm glad that's there, and for me, that is simply incredible on a hot day. This has got, what's the really popular European fruit beer, Fruity, I think it is, Fruity, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. People rave about that because of the realism of the taste. This has that level of realism, but retains a bit more beer character, let's say. Maybe not quite as sweet, not quite as thick, more refreshing, a better summer drink, in my opinion. Yeah, right, before I absolutely smash that, let's take a look at the can. And it says, Seven Brothers Watermelon Wheat Beer. Something to go back on the taste actually. It's not super evident that it's a wheat beer just by tasting it, in my opinion. It's got the visual appearance, but I don't know, there's something lacking slightly in that compared to, I suppose, a more traditional wheat beer. But equally, I kind of get it in that it's also definitely not a traditional pale or IPA either. Yeah, anyway, back to the can. It's 4.5%, which I think I missed before. It says fresh, subtle and hazy. Yeah, that's true. It's not over the top in any way. Seven Brothers Watermelon Wheat Beer, 1.98 UK units, 440ml can. This beer is summer in a can. An infusion of pressed organic watermelons combined with a strawberry and pineapple aroma creates this truly thirst-quenching craft beer. I wasn't getting anything on the aroma, really, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I'm guessing that's hop related. But for me, that didn't really ring true, but it didn't matter because this is all about the taste. It then goes on to say their usual kind of introduction. It says Seven Brothers Brewing Beer, question mark. That's right, each of us look at things a little differently, but one thing we all agree on is brewing great tasting beer. Sevenbrothers.com. If you want to go there, remember that the T is actually a 7, so it's SEBENBOR7HERS.com. Let's have a look what's in here. Do we get an ingredients list? Malt, well, we do. It just gives us allergens: malted barley, wheat. They're from Salford, Manchester, and that is all it tells us. We don't get a proper list of ingredients, which is interesting. But we don't really need it, do we? Because it is a corker. I would find it very hard to rank the Seven Brothers beers in order of preference, because everything I've had has blown me away on a slightly different level. I think this is the king for if it's warm, which it is pretty today, I'll be honest. So I'm enjoying this as much as any other one I've tried so far. I don't think it's quite on a level as the 7 series, although I've only had one from that so far, but it is an absolute. And then again, I had that honeycomb pale. Oh, they're doing me with just, I can't decide. Anyway, it's a cracker. I'm not getting anything else out of the aroma even now, even after having read it, so make your own mind up on that one. But I will say, when I get the opportunity, I want to get a few more of these. And I think that is all there is to say about it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribed, if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.